I've had a baby!
That's it, perfect.
Awesome.
I think it's time that I come back on here and do a massive catch up. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Izzy, this is Lottie, and I'm going to give you all a birth story because I have not been on YouTube for probably about 2 years now, and I definitely owe an explanation as to what is going on. So 2 years ago, obviously I was doing YouTube, I was doing BookTok at the time and BookTube, and it just went dead. I fell out of love for reading and I don't feel like there was any going back to it after that. And obviously December 2024 I found out I was pregnant with my little girl. We found out while I was on a trip in Paris with my partner, which was absolutely an amazing trip. It was the morning that I got back, I took the test at home and I found out I was pregnant. So I gave birth to Lottie when I was 38 plus 4 days pregnant, I'm pretty sure. And I did get an induction, so let's give a story time on that. So the induction was a very unexpected thing to happen. I never expected it, it was very last minute. So the day before my induction, that was the 7th of August, I had a midwife appointment and I was complaining about reduced movements. They just wasn't normal. She was a very active baby, so I was a bit concerned. She phoned the hospital up for me and they more or less said I need to go straight away just to get checked because I was late on in pregnancy. And that was when I actually found out I was having an induction the next day. So my induction was booked for about 4 PM. I did go straight in with the pessary because I wasn't dilated at all. They couldn't give me the balloon, so they didn't want to offer me the balloon because I just wasn't dilated at all. So the pessary was inserted around 5 PM. I did have cervical checks before that, and oh my goodness, I never want to experience them cervical checks again. That's the only thing that hurt throughout the whole labour, birth, literally everything. I never want to have a cervical check, ever. So I had that done and then the pessary went in, which worked more or less within the first 3 hours. Like, it was fast. I had contractions after 3 hours. There wasn't consistent and there wasn't that strong, but there was definitely there. I could feel the tightenings and everything. And I did get moved to a room on my own. It wasn't the labour ward, I can't remember what ward it was, but I was in there for 24 hours until the pessary had to be taken back out. I did have it in for the full 24 hours and it definitely did work. I think it put me between 1 and 2 centimetres, which is not much, but after that was removed I did have constant contractions, so I did get in the labour ward by 9 PM from having it removed at 5 PM. So really it was quite a fast process. So when I got moved to the labour ward, this is like when everything kind of happened. The induction itself was really good. Like, you do hear a lot of bad stories about inductions and the pessary and stuff. Don't be scared of bad stories and scary stories because it might not happen to you. I know a lot of inductions do result in a cesarean, but I never had a C-section, like mine was natural. So I got put in the labour ward. I think I had around an hour in there. I did phone my mum when I got moved because she was my birthing partner and so was my partner. And my mum was in the hospital 15 minutes after I phoned her, and we live half an hour away, so that tells you everything, even though nothing happened for a good 8 hours after that. I think it was around 11 PM I did get the epidural put in, and I had it inserted before any of the contractions started really getting to me because it was an option, it was there, and I said yes to it because why would I not? The epidural wasn't scary at all. I didn't feel a thing apart from the anaesthetic, which is obviously the needle that they put in to numb everything. And that's the only thing that hurt, but it was literally just like a cat scratch. You couldn't feel a thing. And then I had the epidural put in. As the epidural was going in, I had a contraction and it was the worst thing ever. If you've had the epidural, you will know that you have to sit forward so your back is like out and you cannot move, like you cannot move a muscle, like it can be dangerous. So I was having a really bad contraction at the same time as not being able to move. I was in agony. However, I did have obviously a midwife in there helping me. I don't know what they call the people that put the epidurals in. I don't know what their job role is called. But I did have a midwife like knelt in front of me, so I was like over her and she was like supporting me and stuff. So that was really nice of her because she was a really good midwife. And then from then onwards I just didn't feel a thing, no pushing, no nothing, apart from the smallest pressure of obviously a head and everything coming out, but I wasn't screaming. It was the calmest birth ever. After the epidural I did have my waters broken, but everything was up there was feeling around. You just feel like you've wet yourself, and then there's just this massive puddle and it's just obviously wet, and it wasn't a nice feeling. They did obviously change the sheets every couple of hours and stuff because it wasn't nice. So I had my waters broke. That was quick and easy. It was really smooth sailing, to be honest. And then I had the cannula put in, and this was the only scary part of my labour because obviously you're tired, you don't want to eat, you don't want to drink, you don't want to do anything, you just want to sleep, and you can't because it's just so uncomfortable. And I had blood in my urine, which nobody knew why. The midwives didn't know why, I didn't know why. It was quite scary because there was a lot of blood in there, and they just said you need to drink water, like you need to make sure you're drinking water. So I drank water. That did eventually clear up after a couple of hours, but that was really scary. Like, I didn't like that whatsoever. So once I had the epidural put in, I did have a couple of hours to allow her to come down herself, and I did get to 10 centimetres from 1 or 2 within like 4 or 5 hours. Like, it was pretty quick. It was really quick, and it really did not feel like 5 hours. It literally seemed like everything was finished and over within an hour. If I got to experience that for my next child, if I ended up having one, I would literally, I'd love it. It was amazing. So when I did get to 10 centimetres, a couple more midwives came in. The one that I had previously, she actually finished a shift, so she didn't get to experience my births. I was quite upset about that because she was a really good midwife. I did get another one and a student midwife, which I told myself that was not happening. Like, I never wanted a student midwife. I always had really bad vibes about them. I don't know why. I was just really self-conscious. Obviously you want everything done and dusted safely, and obviously you're not guaranteed that every student midwife actually knows fully what they're doing. But I so regret having that opinion because that student midwife, honest to God, she was absolutely amazing. I actually posted a TikTok story time on the student midwife that I had, and she saw the video, which I was honestly over the moon about. She commented on it. I was so happy. It reached a lot of her friends as well, so they tagged her in that TikTok, and it was really nice. But yeah, she took the main role in my whole birth. She was literally stood there telling me to push and everything. She was absolutely amazing. So when I did get to 10 centimetres, the midwife gave me an hour for the head to really get down there, so it wasn't a lot of hard work for me. After the hour, Lottie actually came out within 20 minutes. I was only pushing her for 20 minutes. It was absolutely heaven. So I'm not going to deny the fact that pushing is not hard work, because I was absolutely knackered. I hadn't slept in 24 hours and I had to push a baby out. Like, it was knackering. It was really tiring. And to say that she only came out in 20 minutes, I was absolutely just over the moon. I'm actually going to insert a few clips into this video as well. I haven't got a lot, but I have got one of us first crying. Not when she first came out, but she was laid on me and stuff like that. So when I was pushing for 20 minutes, obviously, the midwife told me while I was in labour that when you push, you need to hold that push and then push again, so that you're actually holding the baby where you've got her to, so she's not going in and out and in and out, because that's when it takes like 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever. So I feel like I really did do a good job at doing that, because I could feel obviously holding it and then pushing again, and you realise that. The only thing that was uncomfortable was when the head was like halfway out and it was like pressure. It did not hurt whatsoever. I wasn't in pain. It was just pressure. It was so strange. I'm currently in the middle of editing this video, and I totally forgot to add that I had an episiotomy. So I had obviously the epidural, and then I did have to have an episiotomy because Lottie's heart rate was going down while I was pushing, and it was just the easiest way to get her out. I wasn't at risk of tearing myself, which they did say was worse than having the episiotomy, so they just went for that instead. But the stitches weren't bad. I didn't feel them whatsoever because the epidural was still working at that point. The only thing that was really bad was the recovery, so yeah, I really didn't like that because it was just really stingy and just really awful. It didn't feel nice whatsoever. But yeah, I just forgot to mention that bit, so I just thought I'd add it in now so that I did tell the full story. So after 20 minutes, obviously Lottie was here. She was born at 7:45 AM and she weighed £5.15. I actually weighed £5.14 when I was born, so that was so strange. And my partner cut the cord. I did put on my birth plan that my partner was cutting the cord, but he didn't want to. But I feel like if he didn't, he would have regretted it. And if I didn't put him on there, I would have regretted not putting him on there, because he said he didn't want to do it, but when he did do it, he did like it. So I'm so glad he did that. So after she was born, obviously she got weighed and everything like that. And honestly, the attachment that you get to a baby, even when you've never been a parent before, is absolutely incredible. I have never left Lottie's side apart from once in 10 weeks. She's 10 weeks tomorrow. Yeah, and I've never left her side. It's so scary, it's so nerve-wracking. I literally hate not being with her. I always take her for my hair doing, my nails doing, anything doing that I have an appointment for, she comes with me. But the bond that you have with a newborn is just out of this world. It's just amazing. And when you get to see your partner be a dad for the first time, that's just the best thing I've ever witnessed, to be honest. When she was born, we did have a couple of hours in hospital. My dad came through after an hour of her being born. He did come like straight away, and that was really nice to see. And my partner's parents and his nanan also came for an hour. And then I was out of the hospital by 2 o'clock. I was sat at home by 3 o'clock. It was all very rushed. The only thing I wish was different was I wish I was in hospital for just one night at least, because everything was so scary. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Like, I just feel like I wanted a little bit more support from the hospital rather than just being sent on my way, because I'm a first time mum. I'm 19 years old. I've literally got no clue what I'm doing. But obviously that didn't happen. We learnt ourselves and we did it. So it wasn't the hardest thing in the world, but being a mum is very tiring. But it's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me and my partner, so we would not change it for the world. So I feel like I've now covered the whole labour and delivery. If you have any questions whatsoever about babies, me, anything, drop them in the comments. If there's any videos you want to see that's might be motherhood related or whatever, comment that as well, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.